Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hey everyone, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you give us your property questions and we give you good answers, hopefully in return. This week is no different, but before we get started, let's remind you of how you can get your question on the show.
Yeah, it's so easy. I'm going to be so bold as to say, if you can't figure this out, you shouldn't be investing at all. It's so easy. You just have to go to propertyhub.net/ask. When you get there, you can leave us a written question for the Sunday Times, because you can find our smiling faces in there every week. Or our preferred option is you let us hear your lovely voice and send us a question for the show. All of that is at propertyhub.net/ask. Okay, let's hear our first question now from Sam.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's Sam here. Firstly, thank you for everything you do with the podcast. I'm a recent Property Hub convert, but I'm certainly making up for lost time with your back catalogue. Everything you throw out is absolutely great. Really appreciate everything you do. If I cut to the chase, myself and my brother, we've got a property business. We've had it for a few years now and got ourselves into a pretty good position. We have 6 residential buy-to-lets and 2 commercial properties. All of our properties are fully let. The rental amount we get for all of them is just under £100,000 a year. And we are debt-free on all of the properties. So cash flow-wise, we're in a really nice position. And we're in a good position to grow. And that's what we decided at the start of this year we want to do. So the goals for us are we want to increase the value of our portfolio 3 to 4-fold. And I would like to do that in a 5-year time period. I'm sure you will let me know if I'm being a little bit over-optimistic there, but I'm hoping the deals are out there to allow us to do this. So capital growth is the main focus. We're not overly bothered about investing into the highest yielding areas. A nice yield would be good, but yeah, the growth is preferable. We've spoken to our broker about a portfolio refinance. So looking at everything we've got, he thinks we could achieve somewhere in the region of 55% of the total value of the portfolio. And if we did refinance that, it would release around £850,000 for us. We'd be paying about 5.6, 5.7% at the moment. And there's some pretty hefty product fees as well. But it is still workable. So my question, and I know you get asked this quite a lot, is what would you do if you were in our position and you had our goals in mind? I'm looking at everything from commercial to residential conversions, maybe looking at trying to buy 2 or 3 new builds to see if I can get a discount, in an area that's going to show some decent capital growth over 3 to 5 years. Or do we look for a big doer-upper, buy something for £500,000 and then put 200 grand into it with the hope that we can sell it for £1 million in 18 months or something like that? Any help would be massively appreciated. Thanks for everything you do, guys.
Sam, congratulations. You've got yourself into an incredible position. So well done on everything you've achieved. And it's great that you want to use that as a base and push on to do even more. And what I'm going to say now, I mean this kindly, but it sounds like you're a bit all over the place with your plans. And that's okay. We all have times we've got loads of ideas and we see the potential in everything and we haven't quite figured out what we want to do next. And that's normal. That's natural. That's where it feels like you are now. And that's compounded by the fact that you are in a really great position, which means you've got more options than many people. So that's fine. But it is something that you need to work through before you start rushing into anything. And the way that I would approach this is to sit down with your brother and work out what it is that you actually want, not just in a cash or equity sense, but for your lives as well, because you're talking about some completely different options. You're talking about conversions, which is very hands-on, risky, project-based, and you're talking about bulk buying new builds, which is completely hands-off once they've been bought. You're talking about flipping something within 18 months, but then you're talking about areas that are going to get capital growth over 3 to 5 years. So all of these lead you towards different outcomes in terms of, are you collecting rent or do you have sudden lumps of cash? And they put your life in a completely different position while you're doing it, because you're either doing fairly intense refurb projects or you're not. So I would really think together about what it is you actually want, both now and in the future. And also really interrogate that goal, because quadrupling your portfolio in 5 years sounds amazing. That would be fantastic. And it is technically achievable, but it will be pretty intense and it will involve taking on some risk. So do you really want to do it? If you extend the time frame to 10 years, is that a complete non-starter? Is that too long for you to wait for some reason that we're not aware of, that you haven't included in your question? Or is it actually okay, and it would mean that you can go down a different path that is more appealing for other reasons and doesn't put you in this time crunch and means you've got to really, really put the pedal down? So I know that's not an answer as such. It's not what should you do, and it's not even what would I do, which is the question you asked, because what I do would be very particular to my circumstances and my goals. If I was setting out to quadruple my property in 5 years, I just wouldn't do it, because I know that I wouldn't be willing to or need to or want to take on what I needed to do to make that happen. So Sam, maybe that's a bit of tough love there, but I really do think that if you do nothing for the next few months but talk together and plan and do some thinking, that will leave you in a really great position. And you are in an amazing position now. You've got a great base to build on. So good luck taking it forward.
Right, next up, we've got a question in from Seth.
Hi, Rob and Rob. This is Seth. I'm new to buy-to-let. I've seen a property. It's a one-bed flat leasehold, which I know isn't perfect, but it fits for me. I've got the property down to 70,000 from 85. It has a tenant in situ who's paying 495 a month at the moment. The leasehold is £20 per annum, but the leaseholder has offered to sell the freehold for £500 plus legals. My plan would be to leave it as it is now and then do a soft refurb in around 2 to 3 years. There is a similar property 2 doors down that has just sold for 105,000, and there is also an identical property 6 doors down that is now renting for £600 a month. The yields look good, and the potential capital growth looks good as well. I was just wondering what you make of that deal, and if you think it's worth going into as first investment to get onto the ladder. Thank you very much.
Seth, thank you for your question. It sounds like a really, really good deal on paper. So that's the good news. Where I'd be cautious is it's approaching, it's too good to be true. Not because of the yield. I know the yield is good, but on lower price properties, you tend to expect that. What throws me is the fact that you've got a property for 70k when a similar property is sold for 105. Now, it could be that you've looked out and you should be just piling into this one, no questions asked. But I would ask questions. And those questions I would focus in are the lease length. Check the lease length. Check the lease itself. Is there anything there that's questionable? A solicitor will be able to help you with that. Also, I'd want to know the service charges. Are the service charges reasonable? Is there some major works that have just happened? That means that the service charges have either just gone up or are about to go up. And finally, because I don't know the construction type and what this property looks like, I'd want to understand the mortgageability of this property as well, particularly if you have to buy it in cash. I'd want to know, are there going to be any mortgage issues? So if you are going to buy this outright with cash, I'd want a very, very good mortgage advisor, not just your average. I'd want one who specialises in buy-to-let to look at this for me and see is there any reason why I couldn't lend on this property. Now, there are other things you can do as well, but they're the kind of the headline ones I'd start off with. And if I've gone through all those checks and I'm still satisfied, well, crack on. Great deal. But in a majority of cases, when a deal looks too good to be true, it often is. And it doesn't mean you don't go ahead, but you just need to understand what you're getting into and then assess the deal on that basis. But once you've got all the facts, you can make that assessment. So good luck, Seth. We wish you well.
Well, there you go. 2 more questions answered, and we'll be back here to do it all again next week. But before then, we'll see you on Thursday for the Property Podcast. Until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.